Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here with you. I would like to talk with you tonight about healing, right? One of the things that I think about a lot is how much energy BIPOC community and Unitarianism puts toward reducing the amount of racism we experience and dealing with impacts. It's easy to use so much of our effort that we stop there and we don't continue to build our healing and our thriving. So, since this is such a special opportunity, I want to go ahead and spend some time on that particular subject. And we're going to begin with a question. I hope this one's not too hard. Should be okay. Are you ready? All right. The question is this. What do you use to dip your French fries? What do you dip your French fries in? You can put an answer in the chat. And I'm also going to suggest some possibilities. So I'm going to share my screen. What I ask my congregation when I'm sharing my screen is say compliments like, "You're doing a great job. It's going to be fine." So you can do that while I get ready to share my screen. Here are some options: ketchup, mayo, barbecue sauce, mustard, hot sauce, or maybe you put your French fries in the abyss. I don't know. I hope not, because it seems like that would be hard to deal with. The reason I want to ask you this is that when we think of sauce tonight, I want us to think of fur. I want us to think of and I want us to think of all the things that we want to continue to add, not just stopping harm, but in experiencing our own beauty and being able to share. So that's why we're talking about French fries tonight. There's some answers in the chat. Barbecue sauce, mayo, Thousand Island, nothing, straight in my mouth. Great. So as we think about that, I want us to hear from Ancestor Audrey Lord about it. She says, "I want to live the rest of my life, however long or short, with as much sweetness as I can decently manage, loving all the people I love and doing as much of the work I still have to do." So check it out. I want to live the rest of my life, however long or short, with as much sweetness as I can decently manage, loving all the people I love and doing as much as I can of the work I still have to do. And part of our work is always going to be claiming our beauty, claiming our power, and claiming our connection, both with each other, with people in dominant culture, and with Unitarian Universal. So, as we talk about that, one of our questions ends up being, okay, but what does that mean? We have some ideas about where to start. We've been doing the best we can do. The example I want to show you has to do with those French fries. Here's a ketchup cup. What about a ketchup? Well, a ketchup cup like this is about 1 ounce of ketchup. Have you ever had to get a couple of them so you wouldn't have to make a lot of trips? This is true because ketchup cups have a secret. Have you heard of the secret of ketchup cups? Some of you have, I bet. The thing about a ketchup cup is that it can expand. If you uncleat the edges, if you pull them out, it actually holds 3 ounces of ketchup. And that's the thing about healing, about our current experience. We get pushed toward dealing with the circumstances that are thrown toward us. But actually, there's a lot more inside. There's a lot more healing that's possible, even though it's not obvious. So what I'm going to do right now is show you a video of how that ketchup cup unfolds to hold more sauce, more flavor, more sweetness, more healing, more beauty, more connection. That if you use the ketchup cup the way it's designed, what you end up with is a lot more sauce. So that's good. If you like sauce, and some of you, I'm clear, do not want any sauce, but it doesn't mean you don't want flavor. It's a different story. So I wanted to start there specifically because there's so much beauty and so much story and so much possibility that doesn't get told when we focus on dominant issues. So it is from this place of what might yet happen. The ketchup cup might unfold, there might be more flavor, and it might be possible. That Black writer James Baldwin speaks. He's pleading with God in a piece called Untitled. Lord, when you send the rain, think about it, please, a little. Do not be carried away by the sound of water, the marvelous light on the falling water. I am beneath the water. It falls with great force, and the light blinds me to the light. God is saying, do not get carried away, blessing me, because I'm only human. I'm only made of meat. This is a place that we find ourselves, ready to rise up, ready to build of thriving, and yet only made of meat. The metaphor of sweetness we are using in this exploration signifies more than one right thing. As we've used it so far, the ketchup cups and the sweetness are an emblem of healing. Next time you see one, I want you to remember that you are enough. And that when we say that, part of what we mean is that ability to hold more healing and more flavor and delight. South Asian American Sikh therapist and professor Annalisa Singh affirms what the ketchup cup tells us. We can indeed heal from racial trauma and white supremacy. I want to show you what she said. It'll be just a second. It's pretty straightforward. One of the things she says about our future of healing is this. Racial healing means we begin to unlearn the stereotyped racial messages we internalized about our own race and the race of others. It means we as individuals learn to recognize the wounds that racism creates in us. So as we talk about healing from white supremacy, healing from racism, making ourselves the center of our own community, one of the things that's important to do is distinguish the stories that are opposite. For us, we participate in Unitarian Universalism, and there might be a story floating around. I'm not telling it because I'm proud of my faith, and I'm proud of you, the faith you represent, the ethics that you represent. But somebody tells a story that white people are the people who invented Unitarian Universalism, but that's where it comes from. That's not the story I tell, and I hope that you have a story that you tell as well that works for you, that reminds you that the good things that you experience in Unitarian Universalism, They're intentionally made for you. They're intentionally set aside sisters for you. So when we talk about Egbert Ethelred Brown establishing the Harlem Unitarian Church, that was 1920s. That was holding on with everybody else, right? William Henry Gray Carter. In the early 1900s, he founded the Church of the Unitarian Brotherhood in Cincinnati, Ohio. And it was the same size as plenty of churches you'll see nowadays. Not different, not smaller. And it was for Black folks. That story has a lot to it in the sense that Gray's ministry was devalued by the American Unitarian Association. And it took several decades before reconciliation was possible. But even when we talk about that, it's true that reconciliation was possible. Oh, that always what William Henry Gray Carter did could be up as something strong, something beautiful, and something intentional. So if you hear the story that Unitarian Universalism was made for white people by white people, that is a story someone could tell, but it's not my story. And I hope that you'll continue to refuse it as your own story. So there are other messages. I know that you know them. You experience them. You don't have to say yes or no or anything like that. But I know you might find it familiar to be the person of color who gets asked, oh, hey, are you visiting us today? Friend, I come here every week. I work here all the time. You know, there's a ton of varieties of answers to that one. But you know that story. What other story are you thinking of? You can either put it in the chat or not. We'll give it a couple seconds. What are the stories that you're going to refuse? I'm going to peek at the chat for a bit. What are you going to refuse? Where are you from? Yeah, I'm interested in refusing that. I'm from right here. You see me, right? Is that reading in Spanish for you? Huh. No one's asked me that yet. I hope they do not, but they might, right? I'm gonna refuse that story. Oh yeah, this reading is a reading, just like a reading is. Right? One person called me by her last name all the time. Yep, gonna refuse that story. What else are you refusing? Oh, Afro-Caribbean religions are not UU. Definitely gonna refuse that. It matters for you to take the time to identify the things you reject outright. Mm-hmm. So that when it happens, you can just say, oh, you know the Polish saying, right? Not my circus, not my monkeys. It can be my circus without me running the circus, right? I don't have to add to the shenanigans. People saying my legally spelled name incorrectly. Gonna refuse that. My name has 4 friends, 4. Right? That's not a handful. It's like, so why does that matter? It matters because the story underneath that story is, oh, it's so weird, it's so hard, it's so different. I mean, kind of, but not in a bad way, only in a good way. Anything else you want to mention to be refusing? You're doing great. It might be a helpful practice for you when you leave this place to continue to think, okay, you know, I have had that happen before. but I am not going to continue engaging with that as a legitimate experience. I want to show you a set of results that these kind of stories that don't apply to us or appropriately put on us can cause. You'll see voting there, but voting is as part of a phrase. The phrase is disengagement from voting. So let's go ahead and look at these effects. Intrusive thoughts, withdrawal from, see, it got mixed up a little. Should be voting and family, isolation, disengagement, sensitivity, hopelessness. This is what that pile of stories feels like. And I know you know, and you probably have your own version, right? And these effects have strong impacts on our health in general. Yes, our internal, like our emotional and spiritual health, but also our physical health, the health of our physical body. So when we talk about refusing these, it's an act of self-preservation, which is an act of resistance. And so every time you pay attention and either take care of yourself after this sensation happens, or you take steps to avoid it, it's exactly part of the work. Didn't see a video. Okay. All right. So one of the things, there are a lot of aspects of individual healing we could talk about, but instead, I want us to take a little bit of time to talk about collective healing. When we talk about collective healing, part of what we're talking about is stories we shared, but part of what we're talking about is the Unitarian Universalism that we intend to participate with future. So what are some features of the Unitarian Universalism you're moving toward that you would like to see? Right? If you could have any kind of Unitarian Universalism in the world that you want, what are some of its features? More ritual and more beauty. Praying openly to a bi-fairy Jesus. Vulnerability. Accurate history of the US and ongoing racism and oppression. Deep spiritual and unapologetic action. Less white-centeredness. A wider variety of ways to worship in a congregation. Less judgment. Belonging doesn't mean being alike. Isn't that beautiful, Unitarian Universalism? How you are when you're keeping covenant, that's the way we want to be. Focus on lament and resilience. Working conflict rather than avoiding it. One thing I'd love to see in my Unitarian Universalism that I'm moving toward is a willingness to take chances, right? What if it doesn't turn out? What if I have to do it one way, one time in a really messy way for it to be awesome the next time? Is it worth it? For me, it's worth it. Honest listening. More honest listening. I'm hearing a little theme which I want to lift up and appreciate, which is to say, instead of holding, keeping face or looking good at the center, saving face is what I was trying to think of. Saving face and looking good at the center. to hold the truth at the center. Telling about ourselves, telling the truth about each other, telling the truth about our spiritual experience, our ethical, right? That's really powerful. And as you hold that in your respective places, it super matters. Because everything else that's not the truth, that's some kind of pretense, is keeping you from your liberation. I know you know that in your bones, so I'm not trying to belabor that point. I do want to affirm that that instinct is strong and good. That the truth, when we say the truth will set us free, it's not just because it's like roses are red, violets are blue, the truth will set us free. That's not what that is. It's that it's by the truth that we survive, and by the truth that we come to thrive. And so we have a lot at stake in that, right? And you're doing a really good job identifying it.
Coming back at you with some daily affirmations.
I am beautiful.
Yes. Okay. Are you ready? Repeat after me. I am a child of God.
I'm trying God.
Jesus loves me.
Jesus loves me.
I am worth it.
And I'm worth it.
I am loved.
I am loved.
I am cherished.
I'm cherished.
I am fun.
I'm fun.
I believe in me.
I'm missing me.
I am happy.
I'm happy.
Yes.
Mommy, you beautiful.
Oh, so are you, baby. Mwah.
She's tiny. She can't say all her letters yet because she can't get her mind around them. And her mom is light skinned. I'm not willing to declare that she is like a particular race, but Scarlett looks black and her mom looks much lighter. And together, they take time each day for Scarlett to go through values and ideas and connections. Things like, I'm beautiful and I'm a good friend and my brothers love me and my mom loves me and my dad loves me and I'm gonna listen to my teacher and be helpful, right? And look at that and you can think, well, okay, that's good for kids, but it's actually a little more than that. It's good for all of us because just like we said, we live, we heal, we practice by the truth. Saying the truth to ourselves displaces some of the stories that we're rejecting. So it really matters. So when I do that, it's, I guess someone somewhere made affirmations goofy. It's not that they're always goofy. It's that you have to pair them with your life force. What are you going to do when you know that you're beautiful? When I know that I'm beautiful, I'm going to do what I have to do. And anytime that someone else, by the thoughts that people have about them not being beautiful, I can say, oh, don't worry. Sure, you're beautiful and I'm beautiful too. And that's how we do, right? That's what that's for. When we grab onto the truth, we free someone else with it. Toni Morrison had a saying where she said, it's not some candy grab bag thing you're doing. Don't go off and get your degree and then you get all the money you can get and you're good to go. You come back home and you help your old parents and you help your people. That's what this is like. So that instead of us taking our life force and feeding it continuously to dominant culture values and practices, we say, seems like you've got it under control. We over here have some healing we're gonna do. And by the way, we have some expectations around what that control looks like. It is perfectly acceptable, even important, for you to stake a claim on the things that matter. And as you're here, I imagine that the mattering of Unitarian Universalism is one of the things that you're sorting continuously. How does it matter? Who matters? What do I do that matters? What makes it matter for me? So those are some of the things we want to unfold with that. I was going to sing you a song. I don't know if I can sing it with no background because I'm not a singer like that, but I was just going to do it for you because you're the best. So let me see if I can sort of play it in the background and sing you a song. It's you I like, not the things you wear, not the way you do your hair. It's you I like. So if you're ever feeling lonely or ever feeling blue, just remember it's you I like, it's you I like, it's you. The reason I wanted to sing you that little piece is one of the very most important things we can do for ourselves and each other is say yes to ourselves. White supremacy is going to think of a ton of moments and a ton of things to you about how you're not good enough. Nobody needs to like you. Nobody needs to like the thing you're about. Nobody needs to like what you're doing. But it's not really like that. You're already held. You're already loved. You're already liked. It already matters. And we can already do this. So thank you for all the attention you've put in this one place of how to heal and grow and strengthen community. Because it's really one of the biggest gifts you can continue to give BIPOC community at large. May it be so. Let us see to it.